Hi guys, it's Sam. Just look at all this goodness. I'm finally jumping on to share with you my December Daisy Dori setup video. And last month I didn't share the setup, I just did a flip through at the end when I was finished and asked you guys what you prefer. And I got some really helpful comments, so thank you very much anyone that left me a message. Helpful in one sense, but kind of not in the other, because half of you preferred to see the process video and half of you preferred to see the flip through. So I'm going to do both. I don't know which one to stick with. So I think from now on I'm going to try and do both. So this is the process video. I've also tried to not cut too much out, because I know some of you has commented and said that you actually like to see me faffing around. I don't know why, but you actually like to see the actual process. So I haven't trimmed too much of this out for you this time. But if you prefer to see the flip through, I will upload that as well to follow this video. So up to you whether you watch both or one or the other, but it's essentially showing you the same thing. It's just showing my setup for December. So I always start the same way. If you've seen any of my other process videos, you'll know that I like to stitch the inserts. This probably isn't something that you have to do at all. It just depends how you want to use the Dori. I like to put loads of photos and layered pieces and ephemera and all sorts of things in there. So I pack them pretty full. So for me, the stapling was coming loose, the first few Doris that I had. So I just stitch it now and then I don't need to worry about it. So that's the first thing I do. It does mean that as well that I can add in any extra pages or vellum or acetate or anything extra that comes in the kit. And this month we got this gorgeous poinsettia acetate piece. And it was a lot bigger actually than normal. The normal acetate that we get doesn't actually fill 2 full sides. So this one was really nice to use. And I decided I like it best against the craft paper as kind of a cover. You can see how that fits there. So just before I stitch it, I just kind of line all that up and kind of add that in as an extra page. I think it looks really nice. It actually needs trimming because the acetate's just slightly too big. You'll see that when I've stitched it all together. So yeah, I like to stitch it all together. It holds it a lot better for me. And it feels more secure and I just like the look of it. So I do that. I do cover it with some washi tape when I've done the stitching anyway. So it's up to you whether you want to leave it stitched or washied or covered or keep the staples in, or it's completely up to you. But for me, I always stitch it. I add in any extra pages that I can. And this was a nice little tip I picked up as well, watching a few other YouTubers, to kind of poke the holes through for the stitching, to rest it in another book. So this book you can see is actually one that I bought for junk journaling, so it doesn't matter if I poke a hole in it by mistake. And if you rest the Dori in the kind of the centre of another book, it naturally falls into the groove. Does that make sense? So when you're poking it with the awl to get the holes in for stitching, it's naturally goes into the centre. So that makes it really quick and really easy. I find it really difficult to do it on a flat surface, and the amount of times I've done it and poked a hole that's not in the, it doesn't go through the craft paper in the middle, it's kind of to one side and it's just a pain. So it works a lot better this way. So I've just got 3 strands of thread I've got, but doubled it up. So it actually means I'm stitching with 6, which is really thick. But again, this is just from trial and error. I've done it with less before and found it not as secure. So for me and for the way I like to use my Doris, this is the best way for me. But I think if you just play around with it and see what works for you. And I've just used white thread and you can barely see it. I mean, the holes are pretty big because the awl that I've got is quite big. So you can see those, but you can't really see the stitching. So I'm just using a bone folder just to press it down. It's not wanting to stay pressed down this month because of that acetate. I think I should have folded that first really and made a crease in that, but it's determined to kind of keep popping the book open. But it will. By the time I've used it for a month, I'm sure it'll be trained and it'll sit down properly. So I'm just trimming the tiniest little edge off that acetate because it was just poking out a little bit. You can just see it's only a few millimetres, but enough to be annoying. And that's it. And the pages actually do poke out a little bit from the craft cover now that I've done that and added that acetate in, which is fine. I don't mind too much because I'm going to put tabs all down the side anyway and chunk it out, so you'll not really notice. You'd just see it's just a tiny little slither, but that's okay. So I like to start off by, once I've stitched it all together obviously, start off with doing the front cover and decorating that. So I'm just emptying out all of the contents of the kit and the planner add-on. So I get the main Daisy Dori kit, I get the planner add-on kit and the dashboards kit. So I just empty all that out. So I've got all the papers, dashboards, washi, ephemera, everything out in front of me, so I know I've got what I've got to play with. And I just cover the outside where the stitching is. I do this every month just with the nice sort of washi. I think as well when I put them on the shelf at the end of the month, they look really nice all lined up together with the different colours on. So I've just picked the red and white polka dot one, which came in, I think, in the main kit. There is another washi tape that came in the add-on that you'll see me use shortly, but I just like this red, and I want to say polka dot, but it's not really polka dot, is it? It's kind of a splattery dot. But I really like that. I usually do it on the middle cover as well, in the middle where the stitching is, but this month the kind of decoration on the page went all the way around the border and I didn't want to break that up with the washi, so I decided not to do it this month. I'll leave the middle with just the thread showing. And I always use the when you buy the dashboard, you get two sizes. You get the A5 and the personal, and I always use the personal one that's got the month of the year on as my front cover. But this month it was quite plain. I like the dots, I like all the colours, but it just needs something. So I'm just playing around now with some of the other cards that I've got in the kit, just to see what, this is the planner add-on kit. We've got that Celebrate and Wish List, and just to try and find something to add on there. None of them are shouting at me, but it's just too plain on its own. It needs something. So this month it's just not working for me. Oh, this is the other washi tape that came in the planner add-on kit, and I thought maybe if I kind of put a shelf or grounded it, and maybe that would work, but I mean that still improves it, but the card is still very plain, so I can't make it work. So I decided instead that I'm going to go and do the inside of the Dory and come back to the front cover, because it's just nothing's inspiring me this month with it. All the kit is beautiful, but I don't know what to do with it at the moment. So I'm going to go and do the bits that I know how to do. So I'm going to do the tabs first. And the way I do this is that I pick the 6 tabs in the kit. I pick the 5 I want to use, and this month there was one that was a pink one, and I just didn't feel it matched the others as well as these ones do. You know, it didn't go together so well, so I've put that to one side and I'll use that in the Dory somewhere. And I've picked these 5 that I want to use as the edges. And I've picked the tabs that are going on there, and for me I use the Hello December, Daily To Do and the Meal Plan, and then the last 2 sections of my Dory, one of them's kind of a memory keeping section, and then my daily diary, and there isn't a tab for that, so I just use the blank ones. You can see 2 top ones there that are just blank, and I just line them up and see what order I want them to go in down the side of the Dory, and then which of the little tabs, sticky tabs, fit better. On that last one there's a little scarf, and it actually looks better without the white tab on it, so I decided just to write on the scarf and save that tab for future, for doing something else with. So like I said, just start with the tabs. It's dead easy. This first one is Hello December, because it's obviously the start of the month, and that just goes right on my first page. And this one's dead easy to line up because it fits at the top of the page. I use the first section of my Dory as kind of a daily to-do list and planner. There's the very first page is usually a blank page. It's kind of blank on one side and lined on the other. So I tend to do like a currently or a bit of journaling or kind of an introduction to the month. And then the first kind of full section is my daily to-do. And then the last section, which is what I'm putting the little tab on now, is you can see these blank pages, and at the end of the month I kind of do a reflection of the month and put in any photographs of things that I've enjoyed, places we've been, kind of a bit of a memory keeping section at the back, which is what there isn't a tab for, so that's what I'm going to write on the scarf this month. So I've put the top tab on and the bottom tab, and anyone who has watched these videos before will know how much these tabs drive me insane, because I can never line them up. Doesn't matter what I do, they don't line up. And I've had some great suggestions off you guys, and I think they're just, whatever I try, these are just my nemesis. It's not going to work. Sorry if you can hear squeaking in the background. The dog has now decided to start playing with his toy when I'm filming. Ridiculous. Anyway, so I've tried templates, I've tried all sorts of things, and I just can't seem to get it to work. So I'm getting there. It's one of them things that I'm getting better at each month, but I just hate doing them. They look so pretty when they're finished though, so they're definitely worth doing. So this is my daily to-do one. This is a first kind of section of the Dory that's gridded up a little bit. It's in, each page is in 3 sections, and there you go, you can see it, and with a little grid background. So this is for my appointments and planning, and this is where I share the Plan With Me videos as well. If you get a chance to watch those, you should check those out. And yeah, I really enjoy this section of the Dory actually. I think it's because I know what I'm doing with it. I think sometimes I get fear of the blank page with some of them, but the gridded up sections, it's like, yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing and I can crack on, and then they're good fun. So I'm just putting the last tab in, which I'm managing to get the height done okay now. Now it's kind of the way they stick out. You'll see when I close it, they stick out too far, and there you go. So it's okay, it'll do, but I need to get better at putting tabs in. It should be so simple and it's just not. So never mind. So the next thing that I work on is my centre page, which is my meal planning for the month. And I always pick one of the dashboards to have as like a tip in, so it folds out from the centre page. You'll see that in a second. And I decide that this, oh no, wrong page, Sam, there we go. Decide this one with winter traditions will work perfectly because it talks about warm cups of cocoa and things. So thought that worked quite nicely on my meal planning page. And I just have that as a little fold out that I can have my shopping list on. So I can plan my meals for dinner and tea on the lined pages, and then this can flip out and have a few note pages to do my shopping list on as I'm doing my planning. And that's been working really well for me, and I quite like looking back as well and seeing what we've had and what recipes we've tried, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm also really loving this red washi tape. So I usually by now I've used both washi tapes that I get, I try and alternate them so I use up a bit of both, but this month I'm just obsessed with the red polka dot. The other one's pretty, but it's kind of in little sections. You will see it, I do use it, but it's lots of little stripes of colour more. I don't really know how to explain it, you'll just have to see in a second. This one, it just feels a bit more splattery and painty, and I just absolutely love it. So I've got a funny feeling this might actually be one that gets used up, which never really happens with washi, does it? But this one might. Either that or I'll hoard it forever and just stop using it after so long and hoard the rest of it. So I'm just adding some note pages to the inside of that flap to use as the shopping list. And I just decided it needed something just to ground it, so I'm just putting another little stripe of the red. I'm going to put it everywhere, to be fair. It doesn't even need an excuse. I'm just going to put red splattery paint polka dots on every possible surface. So from now on, I'm not going to explain to you why I'm doing it. It's because it's beautiful. That's it. End of story. So on the inside cover, I usually have my notes and sticky notes. But it's not really doing much for me this month, to be honest. I mean, they're gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but the brown craft paper kind of showing through is just not very exciting. So decided to do something different, and instead of having my notes and post-its, I'm just going to keep those in my stash, and I'm just going to decorate the inside cover. There's so many gorgeous dashboards and papers, and I struggle to use up the papers every month, and I really need to try and do more of that. So decide to decorate it instead this month, and I've picked this gorgeous dashboard that says when we have each other we have everything, which I just love. And so I'm going to use that as my main kind of decoration. But I'm just seeing if there's a nice paper I can back it on, just something to fill up the brown craft paper. I just want to cover that up and decide on this gorgeous little polka dot one. You can't really see on camera, but the dots have got kind of white stripe lines through them, just as a little bit of extra detail. And I just really love the way that looks. So I decide that's the one that I'm going to go for. So I'm just using my white pen just to mark up where I want to trim it. And I decide to make it just a tiny little bit shorter than and smaller than the craft paper. So there's a tiny little bit of a brown border around it. But most of it's covered. And then I just put that dashboard on top. And it still kind of needs something. I'm definitely going to use the polka dots behind it, but it's kind of floating a little bit. The card's not... There's still something it needs. I don't know what. I couldn't tell whether it was kind of the dashboard was disappearing into the paper a little bit or what was happening, but there was just something extra needed. So you'll see me play around with that in a second. So I've just speeded up putting the double-sided tape on because you don't need to sit through all that. And I'm just sticking that down because I definitely want to use that paper. It just needs, I think you can tell it's just disappearing a little bit. So I'm just going to see if more red splattery polka dots fix it because they seem to fix everything else. But it's not really doing it. It's not, that just seems to disappear as well. And I tried putting it over the card, under the card. If it was more of a solid red, it would give more of a border to it. But obviously it's washy and it's kind of see-through, and that's not quite working for me either. It's not standing out enough. The card's just looking a bit odd. Not happy with it. So I decided to have a look through the die cuts and see if there's something that I can add. And I find this gorgeous floral one. And I think that works really nice. And then the bird at the top as well. And I love that. That's so much better. I think just having that extra little bird ties the card in as well. And so I decided to go with that. I think that works really nicely, and I'm really happy with the way that turned out. So I'm just liking doing something different. I kind of thought I was in a routine with my Dori of, okay, this goes on that page, this is how I have my notes, this is how I do this. But it's quite nice just to mix it up sometimes and try something else and try and use up something else in my stash that I don't usually use. If you've seen my videos before, I've always managed to use up all the stickers and all the die cuts and kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? My words have gone. Paper clips, there we go. It's late at night. Anything like that I managed to use up, but the papers I kind of struggle with, and I think it's because they're quite thick, so I always feel like it's adding too much bulk, but I'm really trying to come up with ways of using them. I think on the cover it's better. It's not on the pages so that they're not too chunky. So I'm just going through now and doing the gridded page, which I use, like I said before, for my daily to-do and my planning. So I'm just setting up my weekly to-do pages now, and the way I'd like to do this is just to split up that last box, so you can see that I'm doing that with the washi tape now, into my Saturday and Sunday, because I don't need as much room to plan on those days because I don't have any kind of appointments. We might be going out for the day, but I don't have meetings and deadlines and that type of thing, so I don't need as much room. So because I get the two different kits, I get two washies. I get one in my planner kit and one in my Dory kit and one in my planner add-on. And I just alternate them to do this bit, and so you can see there's red polka dots there, and I'll use the kind of stripe pattern one, there you go, on this next page. So I just alternate them so I'd get a bit of use out of both of them and just split up that last box. And I really like the way these turn out, even though I have this kind of same setup for this section of the Dory each month. It always looks so different, because obviously what I'm doing each day is different, and the ephemera and things I get in the kit to use is different, and the stickers and all that sort of thing. So they really do look great, these. I love doing the planner pages and plan with me videos and things for you guys as well. So I'm just using the little flags and houses, I guess you call them, the little bits that fit in the bottom of the flags, just to mark out the days and dates. And I really love these stickers. They're so cute and they're dead easy to use. And I just love how the colours kind of blend. So you can see like there's a yellow flag on that page, and I wouldn't have thought of putting yellow, but I just like that I get this kind of little pop of colour and these different bits and pieces. And then you get these little weekend stickers as well, and you can't really see it on camera, it's a bit small, but they've got kind of a little, almost like a candy cane edge to them. They've got a little green and red diagonal stripes that looks really cute going around the edge. And this month obviously started on a Friday, so I just like to mark kind of where the month started, and just use a bit of washi tape and that Hello December. So I'll have to find something to fill the front end of that week up with, and I'm just putting a little heart on there as well, just to start off the month. And I'll do that at the end as well. I just put kind of a strip of washi tape if the month finishes midweek. So I'm just going to put these flags and houses kind of on every page. I'm not going to make you sit through 6 weeks worth of this. There's 6 weekly spreads, I think, this month, if I remember rightly. There's a lot of them anyway, so I won't make you sit through all these. I will kind of fast forward them. But you can see how the colours kind of blend, and you get such a nice range of colours the way that they do these flags. It just works so perfectly. And then just add in my days underneath. And I mix up where the flags go on each page as well. I kind of take my lead from the decoration in the Dory. So you can see on this page, that number 7 that I've just put on there, on the right hand side there's kind of a yellow bow decoration there, so I didn't want to put it there, so I've put the stickers to the centre of the spread. But when I flip it over, there might be some decoration on the centre of the spread, so I might put the flags on the outside. I really don't mind. It doesn't matter to me that they're not kind of in the exact same space on every spread. So there you go, you can see on this spread I'm putting them to the outside, and that's because there's that big floral in the middle that I don't want to kind of cover up. And then there's some extra stickers. So that one is Christmas Day, and I can't remember, oh, it said cheer on that sticker. So I just wanted to put that for Christmas Day, and I like that little extra bit. So you can see I've skipped the weeks. We're now up to the end of the month already, because I didn't want to make you sit through me sticking flags on every single page. It gets a little bit tedious. So we're at the end of the month already. And there's a few extra stickers as well, like on the 28th is reveal for the Cocoa Daisy next month's kit. So they give you a little sticker for that as well, with a little like star on it, so I've put that on as well. And I just find these really easy. It's quite therapeutic to sit and kind of put all your stickers in and do this. I really enjoy doing the setup on these. There you go, there's the little reveal sticker that I'm just adding in there. And that's the month done. So now I'm just going to go through and see what other stickers I can add in. Oh, sorry, it's not quite done. I've got my days to add. So yeah, I don't really like to put too much on these when I'm setting up. So even if I know that I've got an appointment or something that day, I don't put that in the setup, because I like to do my spreads all together so it's all kind of cohesive and all looks nice together. So I wait and kind of leave that. I sometimes add in sticky notes with little bits of information like that on. So that's it done for the weeklies. So I'm just going to flick now. I don't put anything on those blank ones because I use those as kind of scrapbooky pages of things that we do throughout the month. So I'm just jumping to the middle, which is my meal planner. And I'm just looking for a tab to put on the top of that tip in, just so that it's obvious to kind of move it and turn it. And the big one, I'm not feeling that big one this month. It's pink, and there's not really much else pink, or it doesn't feel like there is in the Dory. So it's kind of sticking out a little bit for me, that one. So I'm not using that. So I found one of the little ones from the planner add-on kit, and that's got the gorgeous kind of florals and greenery on it. So I'm using that one. And then I'm just looking through the stickers, because sometimes they give you ones that say kind of shopping list and groceries and that type of thing. So this is a little grocery sticker from the functional sheet, so I'm just adding that on there. And then it just needs a bit of something. There we go, a bit more red polka dots. I told you it's going to be on absolutely every single spread, that that washi tape. It's amazing. There you go, there's another sticker that says shopping list this month, so I'm just adding that in there and just having a look through. There's a meal plan one as well, just to fill that little kind of blank space on the back of the tab. Then I'm just going to use this second set of alphabets that comes in the planner add-on kit. I love these. They seem to be a kind of similar layout each time. We get quite a lot that's this kind of little square one. I'm not sure what you call it, but I really like the font that they use. It's different colour each month, obviously, to match the kit. Sometimes we've had little circles as well, which I'm not as keen on. I really like these kind of little rectangular boxes. So I've just put lunch and tea at the top there, because that's what we call our meals. And then I'll be able to record each day what we have or plan. I try and use it as a planner, but a lot of the time kind of what we actually eat isn't what we planned. So I use it to kind of record the meals, put it that way. And then I'm just using these little circular numbers that, again, come in the planner add-on kit. And I use the back end of the Dori, with the sectioned pages, for my kind of Dear Diary. I just write a daily journal. And this one I don't bother trying to get a week on a page or wondering where the week starts or anything. I just number them. It doesn't really matter. And there we go, jump to the end of the month again, because you don't need to stick little circles on every single page. But this one confuses me because there's 31 days and only 30 boxes, so we're missing a page, which is a little frustrating. I'm not sure how, I don't quite know. That's not happened to me before with Cocoa Daisy. They're usually pretty good. So I'm just going back and checking I've not missed a box, and I haven't. So I now need to add 31 to this last page. And I decide, obviously because it's New Year anyway, I don't really mind. I'm going to do a kind of a big spread on that day and a lot of journaling about kind of my hopes and dreams and goals and things for next year. So I'll just turn that into kind of a massive, I don't know what the word is, a to-do list or a bucket list or that type of thing, where resolutions and all that sort of thing. So I've just found these extra stickers that says goodbye 2017 and hello 2018. So I'm just going to put those at the kind of top and bottom just to bookend that page that I'm going to do of resolutions. And now I'm just going back through because there's a few extra stickers on the sheet for holidays that I don't personally celebrate. There's a few that I do. There's Christmas and New Year, which I'm putting in now. But then there's a few others like winter solstice and things that I don't. But I just quite like marking them in. It's just nice to know what's going on, really. And it kind of gives a picture of the month. So even if it's things that aren't relevant to me, I add them in. So, for example, we had Thanksgiving stickers last month. So I added those in. We don't celebrate that, obviously, but I added them in. So there's a few on here. I think that says Kwanzaa. There's a few on there that I'm going a bit slow because I'm shouting at my other half to Google when the days are. So apologies if I get any of their days wrong. It's either my other half being useless or Google or something. Because, like I said, I don't celebrate these, but I just wanted to kind of mark them as something that was happening in that month. I think this last one is the winter solstice one. Yeah. So again, that's when my other half and Google told me it was. So hopefully I've got that right. So I've just put those in, which means now I'm back to the dreaded front cover. I'm really struggling with this one, guys. So I decide I'm just going to go for it and get a little bit kind of creative with it. And these balls kind of remind me of Christmas baubles. So that's what I'm going to do. So I go through all my die cuts and stickers and find things that kind of match the colour of that circle, and kind of try and turn them into baubles a little bit and make them a little bit more festive. I just add some little hearts at the top. So you can see I've just picked out a little robin there to put on the red one. There's kind of flowers and hearts and coffee cups and all sorts of things that I just liked. So they're just in there. I'm just sticking down some of the die cuts now. I think, like I said, it just needed something. I think these help. They just add a little bit of interest. So I kind of picked some of my favourite bits to put on the front cover. And I'm just going to go around them in a minute with a pen. I want them to look more like baubles. They need hanging things in the top. That's what I'm doing now. So these little hole reinforcers, which are a pain to use anyway, especially in a Dori where there isn't any holes, I'm just cutting them in half to make little kind of hangings for the top of the baubles. And I try and match up the colours, but there isn't the same number of colours. So by the end, you can see I've no green ones left on the last one, so I just use the red. I don't mind. But because I've done that, some of them look a bit kind of disjointed. So I'm just going to go around them with white pen and just kind of try and tie them together. So it just ties that red hook at the top with the green bauble. And it just gives it a bit of a sort of shine, and it kind of looks a bit more bauble-y. So I'm doing that anyway. It works for me. You might hate it. It works for me. And I think it just makes the cover look a lot more interesting. So I've turned these into little baubles. And then, of course, they just need a bit of string. So I'm just getting my black pen, my gorgeous black Pen Gems pen. I absolutely love these. And just adding a few lines of string, just some dashed lines so it's not too heavy. And yeah, much happier with that. And then just a little doodly border just to tie it in, because I think with white pages, everything can kind of look like it's floating a little bit, so it just grounds it all to put a little bit of a doodly border around the edge of it. It doesn't want to write on the coloured sections. I don't know why. It's quite happy with the white bit. As you'll see, the white's fine. Oh no, it doesn't like that corner. It's not writing very well. And then it gets, there you go, green it's not having. So I don't know why that is, but I don't it's supposed to be doodly, so if there's little gaps in it, I don't mind. So there we go. I'm happier with that now, much happier with that. It looks a bit more interesting. It still needs something. You'll never guess what it is. But there we go. It needs red polka dots. Jesus, I am completely obsessed. I've only done the setup. I've not even used this yet. I'm completely obsessed. So I'm just adding that on with a bit of double-sided tape. And I'm definitely much happier with how that turned out. And I think that's all I do, guys. So hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, I'd love a thumbs up, and please hit subscribe as well. It means so much to me. I've hit over 300 subscribers now. I can't believe how quick that's gone. So thank you all so, so much. So all that's left to do is add a little December sticker on the bottom. You just saw me do that there, December 2017. Obviously a little bit more red polka dots, because I'm never going to have enough of that. It needs to be on every possible surface. And then just a little bow, I think, just to finish it off, the little red bow that comes in the kit. And that's it. So thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye!